Mike Fox always came with an honesty and a decency and a desire to be part of the team and play with everybody. You know, in the early years of Family Ties, when there was some discomfort, you know, that his star was ascending, you know, he would always go out of his way to make it easier for Michael Gross and for Meredith, you know, and make them more comfortable. He never asserted his star position at all.
Fox's parents would have to make room for 2 more of their sons' Emmys for Family Ties.
How did Marty McFly and Back to the Future come into your life?
It was out of left field. The year that we did that was the end of '84. Meredith is pregnant. And then we found out she's pregnant with twins, so then we find out we have to shut down for 5 weeks in the middle of production in the fall. So, so we did, and during that time, you know, I didn't think about having a film career. Like I said, I was just really happy to have Family Ties, and everything was fine with me. I had a shiny new car, apartment, and so it was all good. So this independent film company asked me to make a werewolf movie called Teen Wolf, and I thought, well, that's funny. I can do that in 4 weeks, and it was a nice amount of money, and it kind of made me think of Michael Landon, and I kind of laughed. So I'm doing that. So I'm doing the movie now during this hiatus, and we're shooting in Pasadena, and now I'm out there, and I get this stuff on my face. And I'm sitting there going, what have I done? You know, my career was just taking off nicely, and now I'm in Pasadena wearing a werewolf mask. And there was a company coming scouting locations for a film, and so we asked them what it was for, and they said they were scouting locations for a film that Spielberg was producing called Back to the Future. And Crispin Glover was going to be in it, who I knew who had done an episode of Family Ties, and I knew for some other things. And I remember thinking, oh, see, now that would be great. If I could do that, it'd be a lot better than, you know, werewolf. So they cast the role, and they started shooting with another actor, with Eric Stoltz, who's a terrific actor, really good actor. But what was happening was that, you know, Eric, you know, there's a certain goofiness to it that I don't think Eric was really ready to embrace. Eric is talented enough to do anything that he wants to do, but I think there was a silliness to the role that they kind of pictured me for. And so they decided to make a change around Christmas, and I had just come back from Christmas vacation. I go down to Gary's office, and I walk in, and he goes behind his desk. He takes up this envelope, and he throws it down on the thing, and he goes, that's a script called Back to the Future. I said, well, I know this script. They started shooting it like 5 weeks ago. He said, yeah, but they want to change the actor. And Steve wants you to read it, take it home, read it, and see if you like it. And if you like it, you start shooting next week. And I went home and read it. I called Gary up at about 11:30. I think I woke his daughter up and had her wake him up and said, call Steven, don't let him change his mind. And then I talked to Bob Zemeckis and all these people, and I was, they talked to me a little bit about, you know, why that there were creative differences and whatnot, and their compassion and their feeling for what Eric was going to think and how Eric was going to feel impressed me. And we only had a couple months left of the show, so he decided to make it work if I did both at the same time. And boom, I was there and doing it. Basically, within a week, I was doing both jobs. And then it was just staying awake. So everything happened so quick that there was really very little time to analyze anything or really get caught up in it. It was just, well, I said I was going to do it, I better do it. I do Family Ties in the daytime, and I do Back to the Future at night. And I was working 18, 19, 20 hours. And by the time Back to the Future came out in the summer of '85, there were whole scenes I can remember shooting, because I was so tired doing so much of it. And, you know, weeks after weeks of 18, 19-hour days.
So they had worked out a schedule that could work, where they would shoot at night and on weekends. So they came to me and asked me if we thought that could work, and I really wanted to make it work. I didn't want the fact that we were doing the TV show to keep him from anything else.
How much sleep would you get a night?
About 3 hours.
And shot the whole movie that way?
Yeah. I would work on Family Ties. I'd get to work at about 10 o'clock, work till about 5, and then leave there, go to Universal, work till about 4 or 5 in the morning, and go back. I was 24 years old, and it was, why not?
Excited, eager, pleased. I mean, it was like a fabulous role, and I'm sure he really wanted to shine in it. He was coming in late, you know, we had already been shooting for 6 weeks, so there was, you know, jumping into something that he's barely had an opportunity to learn, and a lot of action, and getting comfortable with the crew and the cast, and hoping the dailies are going to live up to their expectations and everything. It was a lot to dive into.
How did you manage to stay so fresh doing that movie? Because I know you were also shooting that very successful Family Ties series that you do in the States.
It was a strange situation because I worked on Family Ties from 10 in the morning until about 6 at night. And then I get in a car and go over to Universal and work until about 2:30 in the morning. But the people, the energy involved with the other people in the film was just so great that you were just so inspired when you got there. I mean, Bob Zemeckis, who directed it, is a total lunatic, but happily can be productive in society by making films. And he really had a lot of energy. And then
he was doing something that was superhuman, you know, to do our show during the day and to do Back to the Futures at night. We started to get pissed because he'd come in, he'd be tired. Well, duh, yeah, of course. But it was like, you have to be able to show up. You know, this is your first commitment. You wouldn't be doing that if you didn't have this. So let's get on it. And he did. You know, he's a smart boy.
Well, that's great.
He was very professional. You know, there was work to do, and he knew what the work was about, and he was focused on that. You know, and I don't think he was distracted by all the recognition he got and the fame and all that. He's a worker.
He's great.
Now, you do one scene where you ride a skateboard like a demon. Now,
Yeah.
how old are you? You're 20?
I'm 24.
Yeah.
I did actually when I was a kid. I rode, not like that.
So did you have to train or?
Not really. When I came into the film, I came in on real short notice, so I didn't. They just kind of said, "By the way, I hope you ride skateboard like an expert and play guitar." And I went, "Well, you know, I can fake both." So.
Scene in Back to the Future is the duck walk, the Chuck Berry thing
Right.
with the guitar. And I read where you asked the director to not take close-ups of your face. You wanted him to see your dexterity because you had some experience with the guitar.
Right. That was that was really a lot of fun. I came into that with again, the other thing about Back to the Future that was so funny was I read it and people said, you know, you're gonna have time to prepare for this. And I said, this is like a girl chasing, guitar playing, skateboarding kid. I mean, I prepared for this for the last 10 years. This is who I am, you know. And so when we did that stuff and I listened to the tracks and I got together with this guitar teacher, I mean, we nailed that. I mean, we really had it. And I said to Bob that I said, you know, it's kind of a unique opportunity because you can really linger on my hands and show that I can play this. It's a lot of fun because I am such a guitar fan and I have so many idols, you know, Townsend and Hendrix and Barry and, you know, Page and all these people that, and this guy knew a lot about guitarists, and we just sit and, you know, for a long period of time talk about guitarists. I said, I got to do like a Townsend windmill, and I got to do a, you know, Jimi Hendrix throw it behind my back, and we just worked all this stuff in, and it was, that was just a pure experience, that scene. It really turned out well.
Were the special effects difficult to cope with in that movie?
You just did it. You reacted to things that weren't there. You had a piece of tape on a pole, or, you know, it got to where Bob Zemeckis and I would talk about, you know, give me a look of shock and amazement, number 32-8.
Yeah.
You know? Libyans, whatever, you know. So, what most of the Amblin movies, and also it's a great pairing because Bob Zemeckis is the same way. They like to make entertainment movies, you know, and people right now have, I mean, this whole cinema verite thing, I think, is kind of worn on them. If you want real life, you can walk out on the street and get hit by a car, and that's real. Or you could, you know, drive to East LA, and unfortunately, that's real, and all those kind of things. So what they want to make movies about magical things. So you feel it when you're working, yeah. It's a little part of you, when we're doing some scenes, that I go, I wish I could do this, you know? I wish I could, like, you know, these things that happen to me, and in a way that they are, you know, because I'm doing the movie. So, yeah, that's the fun part about this movie. It's just you really feel like there's something magical going on.
What is it like to act with Christopher Lloyd?
It's amazing. I mean, Marty's basic role is to be a reactor, is to be the audience's conduit to experience this thing. And if your job is to react, and you have actors like Chris Lloyd and Crispin Glover, I mean, it just makes your life so easy because you never know what you're going to get, and they never do it the same way twice.
Now, this is a film in the great tradition of It's a Wonderful Life and The Wizard of Oz, which is to say the principal character rediscovers in the course of it the value of what he had all along. But there's an added element, and not to mince words, the element that fascinates me about Back to the Future is the possibility of incest.
The Oedipal thing.
It's there every second. The scenes between you and Leah, who played your mother, are hilarious and just a little frightening. Tell me about working with Leah in that film.
Leah was really great and really had, you know, Lorraine. She just was Lorraine, you know, in every incarnation, you know, whether it was old Lorraine or the new old Lorraine, or, you know, the stuff in the car is some of my favorite stuff, you know.
I mean, the thing about the film was you went back in time and subtly changed your own life by being back in the past.
Right.
Would you, I mean, did it make you think at all? It certainly made me think watching the movie how much you'd like to go back in time and see things.
You know, I thought about that because it was something I thought about when I was doing it. What would I change? What would I alter? I don't think it changed it. I mean, it worked out all right. I mean, here I am
for you, yeah.
In England.
How old were you?
For my tickets.
You're supposed to be about 17 or 18 in the movie, right?
Right.
How old are you in real life? Are you?
Yeah. No, I'm 24.
You don't look it.
No, I know. I think I made a deal somewhere along the line that I don't want to know.
You haven't got a painting in an attic anywhere or anything like that?
Yeah, there may be. There may be. But...
Back to the Future has comedy, fantasy, and adventure rolled into one. It's not only a plum of a role for Fox, but also a chance to get in on the magic that comes from a picture produced under the Steven Spielberg banner.
It is magical. It is candy. You know, it's celluloid candy, but it's good. It's going to be neat.
I mean, I just felt it was like an innate chemistry. I was Doc and he was Marty, and it wasn't something we worked for. It wasn't something that we'd lose. It was just there.
And how does our hero get to where he's going in time? In this. The most fantastic, flashy, four-wheel time machine in the history of movies. One that might even make H.G. Wells green with envy. Something built today to recapture yesterday. Or explore tomorrow. Whichever you choose.
Every once in a very long while, a movie comes along that I want to throw my arms around and hug.
If we thought we liked Michael J. Fox before, after Back to the Future, we loved him. The world fell in love with Michael J. Fox.
It became the highest-grossing movie of the year, catapulting Fox to A-list movie star.
Highest-grossing film of that year was, of course, Back to the Future. And the second highest-grossing film of that year was Teen Wolf.
But he still had a B-list movie waiting to be released. Just 1 month after Back to the Future proved box office gold, the producers of Teen Wolf wanted to see if Fox's Midas touch would work for them too. They moved up the release of the werewolf romp and held their breath. It worked.
When the movie came out after Back to the Future and was marketed on Michael J. Fox's coattails, he was now a huge movie star. Turns out that Teen Wolf was a pretty good movie. I mean, it wasn't as good as Back to the Future, but it was pretty cute.
The blockbuster of the year was rewarded with a royal screening with Princess Diana.
I was just right next to her, and which was really exciting and cool. Except that as soon as the movie started, I had to go to the bathroom. And it was instant and it was urgent. But they just got through all the rules with me that I couldn't speak to her unless she spoke to me first. And I couldn't stand up unless she stood up, having to pee the whole time. And so I just sat there for 2 hours, and so being on a date with the princess at the movies was destroyed by the fact that I was filling up. My eyes were getting watery.
Michael, your first starring role, Back to the Future, were you surprised by the impact the film had had?
Yeah, I was surprised. I expected the film to do well. And when I say do well, I mean, make a profit or whatever, would satisfy the studios because of the people associated with it, Steven and whatnot. But for it to come out and do as well as it did, I don't even look at the totals anymore. It's scary.
It kind of made too much difference to your own personal fame? Because you're very well known in America with your TV series, Family Ties, aren't you?
Right. Well, it's funny. It has it amazes me because a television show, when it's popular, is seen by, I don't know, 50 million people or whatever a week. A greater number of people than will ever see most movies. I mean, I think that more people see Family Ties in a night than see Jaws, will or have seen Jaws. Our producer told me that once. So you wouldn't expect it to make that much difference. Yet when you come out with a film like Back to the Future, all of a sudden it just quadruples the amount of attention you get. And I don't really understand it, but I can't honestly say that I don't like it. It was a nice amount of money, and it kind of made me think of Michael Landon. I kind of laughed. So I'm doing that. So I'm doing the movie now during this hiatus, and we're shooting in Pasadena. And now I'm out there, and I get this stuff on my face. And I'm sitting there going, "What have I done?" My career was just taking off nicely, and now I'm in Pasadena wearing a werewolf mask. And there was a company coming scouting locations for a film, and so we asked them what it was for, and they said they were scouting locations for a film. And then we found out she's pregnant with twins, so then we find out we have to shut down for 5 weeks in the middle of production in the fall. So we did, and during that time, I didn't think about having a film career. Like I said, I was just really happy to have Family Ties, and everything was fine with me. I had a shiny new car, apartment, and so it was all good. So this independent film company asked me to make a werewolf movie called Teen Wolf, and I thought, well, that's funny. I can do that in 4 weeks. And
Mike Fox always came with an honesty and a decency and a desire to be part of the team and play with everybody. In the early years of Family Ties, when there was some discomfort,
Spielberg was producing called Back to the Future, and Crispin Glover was going to be in it, who I knew who had done an episode of Family Ties I knew for some other things. And I remember thinking, see, now that would be great. If I could do that, it'd be a lot better than, werewolf. So they cast the role, and they started shooting with another actor, with Eric Stoltz, who's a terrific actor, really good actor. But what was happening was that, Eric...
that his star was ascending, He would always go out of his way to make it easier for Michael Gross and for Meredith, make them more comfortable. He never asserted his star position at all.
Fox's parents would have to make room for 2 more of their sons' Emmys for Family Ties.
How did Marty McFly and Back to the Future come into your life?
It was out of left field. The year that we did that was the end of '84. Meredith is pregnant.